Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to Japan Study Center. Today we are going to see the chapter of geography and what is our topic today? Gupta and there is a succession AD 300 to 750. There is a most important chapter, but important here a point political history. What is the political history of Guptas here? There is a most important things here, an important question. The Gupta dynasty was established a Sri Gupta. That is established here a Sri Gupta, who is probably belong to a Vaishya caste. There is a belong to the Vaishya caste. He is hailed from to the either Magad, Bihar, and the Prayag is the eastern UP. He is a son of Ghatotkacha, who is acquired the title of Maharaja. There is a most important. He is the son of the Ghatotkacha, who is acquired the title of Maharaja. Appear to be some small king about whom nothing is a much is a now. There is a most important, but first here Chandragupta Pratham means Chandragupta first, and the real founder of the Gupta empire was a Chandragupta first. There is the most important here, the founder of the Gupta empire here, Chandragupta first. There is a time here AD 390 to 334. There is the most important time for the Chandragupta first or established of the empire. And the earlier of his station in the AD 390 mark of beginning of the Gupta era. And it was the henceforth is a use all there is record. And also those there are federatories and he that took the title of Mahadhiraj. They took the title of Mahadhiraj of King of Kings. He is a married Lichvini princess is a Kumari Devi. There is a most important married Lichvi princess a Kumari Devi. This event is recorded in a series of gold coin issued by the Gupta. There is a most important here. This is an event of recorded in the series of a gold coin issued by Gupta. It is a pair that is a mentionally is alliance give legitimacy on prestige and strength of the Gupta king. Chandragupta was ruling over Magad, Bihar, Saket, modern Ayodhya. There is a most important. Saket is a modern Ayodhya and the Prayag, modern Allahabad, with the capital of Pataliputra. The Pataliputra at this time is a modern time is called to the Patna. There is a most important here. The next topic is the most important here are Samandragupta. Who is the Samandragupta? There is a most important. Chandragupta was succeeded by his son is a Samandragupta. Chandragupta succeeded by the son of here or Samandragupta AD here 335 to 375. There is a long time. Samandragupta followed the policy of conquest and the emotions is enlarge his kingdom and his achievements are recorded in the long inscription. Prasasti is written in the pure Sanskrit by the court poet Hari Sen. There is the most important Hari Sen written there is the pure Sanskrit by the Hari Sen. And the inscription is the enlarged grapes of the pillar at the Allahabad. There is in grapes on a pillar at the Allahabad. It is eminent in their peoples as their reasons is a concrete the Samandragupta. He is adopted a different policy of different area and as a conquered by him. There is the most important. In the Ganga Yamuna Dwab is a flow of policy of annexations. He is a defeated a 9 Naga rules and incorporated their kingdoms in the Gupta Empire, and he then proceeded to the conquer that of forest kingdom of central India. Mentioned are the Varajyas as there is rulers of this tribe, and the area were defeated on the forced into the servitude. The area had a a value as a contained a route to the South India. It is invalid as a Samandragupta to proceed to the south along to the eastern coast and is a conquering 12 kings on the way and the reached as for a Kochi near Chennai. Samandragupta studied of the Naxis and their kingdoms and liberated and stated and these kings on their harem. And this policy of political is a consolation for the South India was adopted because he knew that it is difficult to keep them under to control and surveillance, and some of the returned it to the capital in the north. And so it was enough for him that this is a state or recognized his sovereignty and paid him to the tribute and present. That are most important. According to the Allahabad inscription, the warnings five founder a kingdom and nine republican state of Punjab and Western India were overwhelmed by the consequence of the Samudragupta. These agreed to pay of tribute and the taxes to the Samudragupta and will his order without any fight. The inscription added that a Samudragupta also received a tribute and from many kings of the Southeast Asia. It is generally believed that is that tough he had spread his influence over a vast area. Samudragupta exercises directly administration control mainly over to the Indo-Gangetic basin. And he is celebrated his classification by performing as a horse, as a sacrifice, as a Ashmaveda. And there are issue of the Ashmaveda types of coin. Ashwamedha is a types of coin. The coin is a processing their sense of sacrifice on their occasion. Samudragupta was not only a conqueror but also a poet, a musician, and the patron of learning. His love and music are tested by his coin that is represented his on the playing on the veena. Is means lute. Here show the most important map here the Gupta Empire, the close of the 4th century. There is a most important figure here on the map. There is a most important area show in this side. There is the most important here. The next here is a Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II is also known as a Vikramaditya. Vikramaditya is a very famous king on this time. Samudragupta was succeeded by his son Chandragupta II. Chandragupta II is the AD of 375 to the 414, also known as a Chandragupta Vikramaditya. The full name of here a Chandragupta Vikramaditya is not only extended his father empire, but also is a consolidated his the position through the is a maternally is alliance. The maternally is alliance with other royal descendants of the period. He married of Kuber Naga. He is married of the Kuber Naga, the Naga princesses, and had daughter of Prabhavati. The daughter of here Prabhavati from here as a Prabhavati was given a marriage by the Rudsen II. There is a daughter of Prabhavati is marriage here Rudsen II of the is a Bakatak. Bakatak descendant ruling of Deccan. After death of the husband, the Prabhavati ruled to territory is region of minor son. The son here a minor. With the help of her father, the control of is a Bakatak. There is a territory of proved to the very beneficiary of Chandragupta II, means Vikramaditya, as was now able to target his other enemy better. There is a most important. His greatest military achievement was his victory over to the Shaka king and who were the ruling in the Western India from the last 300 years. This cousin made of the Gupta Empire reach up to the western coastals. On the iron pillar or inscription of the Mehrauli in Delhi indicate that his empire of included even northern western India, Bengal. He took his title of Vikramaditya is the one who is powerful as a son. Chandragupta II is remembered of the pathogena of art and literature. His credit was the maintenance of 9 luminaries as a Navratna in his court. The great Sanskrit poet is a playwright. Kalidas was the most notable of them all. There is the most important here Kalidas. The Chinese Buddhist pilgrims of Fa Hens is a AD 404 to 411 visit to the India during to the regional he has left on account of the life of people in India in the 50th century AD. There is a most important here a Chinese Buddhist is a pilgrims of Fa Hin. There is a most important here. The next decline. There is a most important decline here Chandragupta too was succeeded by his son Kumar Gupta. The Chandragupta was succeeded. He is a son of the Kumar Gupta. Kumar Gupta is a AD time. He is AD 415 to the 455. He was able to maintain the empire built of his father. But during the later part of the line, and there was a threat from to the Hunas of the Central Asia. After the occupy of battles of the Hunas is across the Hind Kush mountain and the enter of India. Their first attack during the reign was repulsed by the princes either Sakuntalagupta. Sakuntalagupta, the Gupta is however could not be protect their empire for the long and the success wave of the Huna is involvement to the maid of the Gupta is very big, and this was only of the main factor which accelerated there is a disintegration of Gupta Empire. There is the most important here. The inscription issued by the Hunna and showed there is AD of 485 they had occupied eastern is a Malwa and the large part of the central India. Punjab and Rajasthan also passed into there is a hands. The first important rule of the Hunas is that India was a Turamana who is acquainted to the area of sketching up to the Iran of near Bhopal in a central India. His son Milukurukala is a succeed. Himahinas head of the 515, he described his text as the tyrant and iconolist is both. There is the Yashodharman. Yashodharman of is a Malwa and is a Narsingh Gupta is a Baladitya of the Gupta descent. Finally, defected his is a Milihi Ruku. Ruku but is a discovered over to the Hunas and could not be received the Gupta Empire. Besides the Huna is the inversion, there is also is a gradually decline in the economical poverty. It is the indicated by the gold coin of the later Gupta ruler, which has a less of gold content and a more is alloys. He also noticed the gradually disappearance of coin in the coastal Gupta period. It led to the king of the make a payment in formal land rather than the cash. It is evidenced by the discovery of large-scale land grant and creditors and donating to the land of Brahmans and the officer. There is the most important here. The practice of giving land of religious and the scholar is a purpose in the life of the service as a direct to the state is a normally termed as a federalism. Under this practice, the domain to one of who receive the great aim and who give to the right not only to collect the taxes but also to the minister has a donated land. And this creates a small pocket of the power try clueless to the expanded their sphere of influence at the cost of the ruling authorities. The decline of the Gupta Empire resulting in the emergence of the numerous ruling that centric in different parts of northern India, and the prominent among them were the Pushpabhuti of a Thanesar, and here a Mukhari of Kannauj, and the is a Matrak, the Matrak of the Ballavi. Matrak of the Ballavi, there is the political sense in the peninsular India was no different. There is a Chalukya and Pallavas are emerged as a strong religious power in Deccan and the northern Tamil Nadu respectively. There is the most important here. Most important, the after the Kumar Gupta, the decline of the kingdom and the emerge of numbers of ruler. Today we have discussed a number of ruler after the Gupta Empire is a decline. There is a first important here, Matrak. Matrak is a chief of the Gupta Empire, and there is the most important here. The Matrak, where is a tribute of chief of Guptas who established on independent kingdom in West India. There is a most important here and Dhruv Sen. Dhruv Sen too was the most important ruler of the Matraks. There is a most important here. Dhruv Sen too was the most important ruler of the Matraks, and he was a contemporary is a Havensangan, and there is a married to the daughter is a Haswan and Tanga. Tell about the Dhruv Sen too attend to the Harsa as an assembly by the Prayag, Allahabad. And the ruling over the Sarusatra of Gujarat and Mathrax is developed to the Balabhi, and there is a capital and the city of become important center of learning. There is a most important here, important center of the learning, and began on the Arabian Sea. It is was the also port town having to the flourishing trade and commerce. And Matrix is continued to the rules of until the middle of the 18th century when to the Arab attacked to weaken their power. There is the most important here. And the next our next year Mokri. Mokri is the most important of decline of Gupta Empire. The Gupta Empire decline. There is the emerge of the Mokris. There is the most important here. The Mokris rulers over Kannauj is a city in the West Uttar Pradesh, which gradually replaced to the Patliputra as a political center of the northern India. The Mokris is where also there is a subordinate ruler of the Guptas and use the title of Samanta. There is a most important here. Harshavardhanam, their sister Rajshri was married to the Grihashvarman. That is the most important here. And Sasanka, the ruler of Bengal, is good, and the Dev Gupta, their later Gupta ruler, is jointly is attacked to the Varman and the kill him. There is the most important here. They kill him, and the kingdom of the Kannauj was the emerged with that of the Pushivhotis and the Harsh shifted to the capital for the Thanaswara of Kurukshetra to Kannauj. The after the Mokris is empire is destroyed, the emerge of the Thanesar of the Pushviti. There is the most important here a Pushvutis of the Thanesar. Their Thanesar is a Harshan is a migrate for the this area. And the important ruling of family to the gain a prominence after the fall of the Gupta was that Pushvu Bhuti, and who had there is a capital of Tharasar. There is a most important era of fall of Gupta's empire. Thaneswara is there a Kurukshetra. The dynasty is become influential and with the associations of the Prakash Vardhan. Prakash Vardhan is the most important here, and who was the able to defeat the Hunas and the strengthness of the position in the region of Punjab and Haryana. After his death, his elder son is Rajvardhana is come to the throne, but is the treacherous is a kill of the Sasanka. Sasanka is the most important here. They are king of Bengal of and Bihar. There is the most important here. Sasanka is the king of the Bengal and Bihar. And Harshavardhana, this ascended their authority is AD 606, and he was only 16 years of the age at that time. Still is approved himself to a great warrior and the able of administrator. We have a two available source that is so important light on the life and time of the Harshavardhana. There is a 606 to 647, and these are the Harsh Charitra. Harsh Charitra written by his court poet Banbhatta. The Banbhatta is the most important here. And see you Ku is their travel is account of the Chinese Buddhist pilgrim the Hushan Tong as who is visiting to India during to the AD. The 1926 to 6044, there is a most important time here. After his ascension, Harshavardhana united his kingdom with that of his wild over to the sister Rasri, and she above the shifted his the capital to the Kannauj and is described as the Lord of the North. Is a Sakul Pathanam, and he is about the Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha under his control. Harsha is born to the extent he is a power in the Deccan, but he was defected by the Pulcations too. The Chalukya ruled on the bank of river Narmada. The river thus become to the south end is a boundary of the kingdom. The death of the Hers in AD 6047 was following by the political convention that continued up to the 8th century when to the Gujarat and Partharas and the Rajput ruler emerged as the big force in the northern India. There is a most important for emerge a new ruler. There is a new ruler here, a Rajput. There Rajput, there is a Bakata, some Rajya. The next year is come to the ruler of Bakatak. Bakatak is most important here and he was established in the peninsular India. The Batakas is a local power that ruled over the northern Maharashtra and Vidarbha. And the history can be reconstructed on the base of a large number of land and grant charters issued to the Brahmins. There is a most important here. But Rudsen, two of the royal Isabakataka families, was married to the Prabhavati Gupta. The Prabhavati Gupta is the most important here, the daughter of Chandragupta too. There is a most important. Prabhavati is the daughter of the Chandragupta two of there is a Emperor Gupta family. Culturally, there is a Pakataka kingdom is important because it is a become a channel of a spirit of is a bro Mahanikal culture of South India. After the Vakataks is a decline, there is a more emerge of a Chalukya dance century. There is a most important Chalukya 60-80th century AD. The Chalukya is a play on the prominent of role in the history of Deccan and the South India for about 200 years from to the beginning of 60th century AD. And they set off there is a kingdom is a western Deccan with the capital at the Vaptapi. Is the modern is a Badhami in the Karnataka. There is the most important. The kingdom rapidly rose of prominence during to the reasons the design of the Pulcations too. There is a time of AD 610 to 642. He was the greatest ruler of the Chalukyas. He is and the is a consolidated his authority in the Maharashtra and consequent to the large part of the Deccan. He is defected to the Harsvardhana and the Siddhartha is AD 630 and acquired the title of Darshan Patravara. This is the Lord of South. Dushka Pathavara. The kingdom rapidly rose to the prominence of during to the resign of the Pulkasen of 2. There is AD 610 to the 642. He was the greatest ruler of the Chalukyas. There is a most important here, a greatest ruler of Chalukya. He is a consolidated his the authorities in their Maharashtra and consequent to large part of Deccan. He defected to the Harshavardhana in the as the Sirka is AD 630 and acquired the title of there is a most important title Dakshin Patheswara. Dakshin Patheswara is the most important title meaning of Lord of the South. There is a meaning of Lord of the South. There is Dakshin Pathveshwara. And however himself was defeated and killed by the Pallav king is a Narsingh Burman. Narsingh Burmana is the most important in the AD 642. They killed them of Narsingh Burman in the AD 6402. It's a market the beginning of the law is a long drive to the political struggle between the is a Pallavs and Chalukyas, and that is a continuity with the UPS and they are down for the more than to the 100 years. In about AD 757, there is a fratricide of the Rukshatruk and the overthrows them. Culturally, there is a period is important for the growth of art and architectures in a Deccan. There is a most important here the map show in your screen the Deccan and South India. There is a most important here the modern town and ancient cities. There is a show of the modern town in the symbol of square shape and the circle shape of show here ancient side. There is a most important here the southern India. There is a BC 300 to the AD 750. There is the most important part of our kingdoms. The next ruler here, a Pallav. The next ruler is the most important Pallavs. The Pallavs established there is authorities over South Andhra Pradesh and the northern Tamil Nadu with the capital of Kanchi. The Kanchi is most important here. The Kanchi under them become important temple town and the center of trade of commerce. There the Kanchi is the most important here. The Pallavas rose to the power during to the design of the Mahendravarman and their most important AD here are 600 to 630 and the Narsimha Burman is the most important here and there is the AD of 630 to 668. There is a most important here the Narsimha Burman. There is a one. There is not a Narsimha Burman. There is a Narsimha Burman is one. And throughout there is a line there where the constant and conflict the Chalukya of the Bethtapi in the northern and the Tamil kingdom of Cholas and the Pandyas in the south. There is root in the south India was replaced by their emperors of Chols and culturally there is a design in the important for the growth of Tamil Bhakti literatures and Dravidan style and the art of the architectures in South India. It was under that Mahabalipuram's south of Chennai emerged as an important center of temple is the architectures. Architectures is the most important temple or design on this time. Important here are Gupta times or administrative system. What is the administrative system of the Gupta Empire? A compare of the Mauryan, there is the AD of 300 750. There is the most important times on here. In the Mauryan period, the political authorities was concentrated in the hand of the king. There is a notable point here. The Mauryan period, the political authorities was concentrated in the hand of the king. But the Gupta administration was decentralized other nature. The Gupta is administration was decentralization in the nature. It means that a federatrix is a local king and a small chief ruler large part of the empire. I have also discussed the smaller chief on the large part of the empire and there is a promised title such as the Mahadiraj, Paramutaka and the Parameswara, etc. were adopted by the emperors of Guptas. And this is a lesser ruler and honored there is a name with the title like a Raja and Maharaja. There is a most important for a administrative system in a Gupta empire. The kingship was a normally hereditary, their king was the focus on administration. The prince's ministers and advisors assist them. That is more important, and the princes were also made the viceroy of the provinces. And the provinces is were known as the Diksha, is the Rakstra, and the Bhaktis, and there is the head was is called is Aprika. The province where it is divided into the number of districts is called Pradesha and the Vishya. There is a most important here a Pradesha or a Vishya. The administrative head of the Vishya was known as the Bishpati. There is a known as the Bishpati. The Vishya where is a further divided into the villages and the villages is a head man is called to Gram Adhyaksh. Look it after their affair of the village and with the help of the village elder, the artisans and the merchant took on the active part in the town administration and during the Gupta period, the Gupta is a bureaucracy was a less elaborate and the compared that of the is a Mauryas. The high level of center officer under the Guptas were called the is a Kumar Matyas. Kumar Matyas is the most important here and important functioning like a Mantri, Senapati, where also is a security from that. And the cadet administrative posts were not only hereditary, but when our several office were combined in the hand of the same person, as in the case of Harisena. The composer of the Allahabad period inscription of the Samudra Gupta, he has been described as a Mahadandanayak. The Mahadandanayak means a chief judiciary officer. There is a Mahadandanayak, a chief judiciary officer, as well as the Mahasandhi Vargika is a ministry for a bar and places. There is a most important here. The ruler himself of the appointed high-ranking officer, but the hereditary tree of nature of the post most as a weekend the royal control over to administration. There is a most important here a weekend the royal control over to administration. During the Gupta period, is a land tax increases considerably. There is a land tax called Bali and the various form of 1 upon 4 to the 1 upon 6 of the totals produce. Two new agricultural texts that has appeared in a Gupta inscription on the Aprikara and the Udarana. There is a two is most important here. However, there is an exact of nature in the not clear. In addition to the peasant had to meet the demand of the feudatories and they also had to feed the royal army went to the pass from the villages and the villagers were also is subject to the other force the labor is a bisti. The judicial system was of far more development under two Gupta rulers than the earlier time. For the first time, the civil and criminal law were clearly is demarcated, and the debtor is connected with the various types of property and were considered is a civil law. Elaborate law were to lay down about inheritance, the thief and the adulteress feel under to criminal law. The king is upheld the is a law of the try to the case with the help of the Brahmins. The guild of their merchant and the artisans were governed by their own law. Harsha is a government with the empire on the same lines as did the Guptas. And but there is a during is the period the administration become a more is decentralized and there is a number of federatories as a great further. In the Harsha as a time, the officer and the religious person where is a paid the mainly in the land. It is encouraged their system of federalism which grow much more in the post Harsha period. In the empire of the Harsha, law and order does not be appear to be so well is a maintained. The Hushan is a Tusha as is a twice robbed of all the belonging during his the travel in the India. There is a most important Husantang is there is a two-time robbery began to the during to the travel of India. On the other hand, Fasi is as a folk face no such a difficulty during the Gupta period. There is a most important here. The most important topic here of society is a lesson of the Gupta and there is a censorship. There is a most important here of society. The structure of their society was undergoing a change in the Gupta period. The supremacy of the Brahmins was increasing and they were is getting a large scale and land grant not only for the rulers but from to other peoples also. The land was given along with the administrative right and tax expansion, and thus a new class of Brahman landlord and the created. Supported by the kings, there attended exploration of present. That is the most important here. We also notice the proliferation of the caste in period and with the extension of the Brahmicals and the culture is a distant and the different area. As a large number of tribes were assimilated in there is a Brahmicals and social structure of Varna system of fold. As were some of foreigners such as the Huns and well the foreigners and the tribals is inherited were included as the Kshatriya, there is ordinary tribes where is given to the statue of the Shudra. The status of the Shudra is the most important here. The position of the Shudra, however, improve or somewhat is during to period, and there where is allowed to the listen to the epics and the Purans. They could also perform to the some or domestical rituals that were earlier is a prohibited for them. In the 7th century, Hushan Tusan is called a Chudra was an agriculturist and there are Vaishya as trader. A distinction was also is made is between the Chudra and the untouchable, and the latter is began to treat to lower in the status than the Chudras. The untouchables are referred to the is a Chandas, and there is a leap to the outside of the village. There are delta and the unclean jobs such as the canvassing of the bachelor. There are A Chinese travel for his tell us to that is whenever their entry of the towns or marketplace, there would be strikes of peace or wooden to the announce their arrival, and so that other might not be touched them and get polluted. There is the most important for here on the Chandal. The reference to be a slave are found in the contemporary of Dharam Sastra is a law book. The Dharam Sastra here a law book on this time. Narda is a mention of 15 types of the slave, and they were mainly a domestical servant as employed in the cleaning and sweeping. The prisoner of the war, depth of the bondsman, and one of their slave women were all the considered as slaves. The status of the women continued to the decline in a Gupta period. The main reason for their subordination of the women was there is a complete dependent on the man for their livelihoods, and the women were not entitled their inherit to the property. However, she had a fully of right on her Sri Dhan, and he is the present is received by the British at the time of the marriage. Their free representation of female in art suggests that there is a no is a pradha system in there is the society. The Pardha system is the most important here on this time. However, there is evidence of the presence of the Sati system. The first evidence of Sati, evolution of the Vidyas in the found in the inscriptions AD 510 at the era in the Madhya Pradesh. In the is a Harsh Charitra of the Bana, there is a queen's perform a Sati on their death of the husband King Prakash Vardhana, even to Rajasri, sister of Harshvardhana, and was about the performer Sati went to the Harsh rescue here. There is the most important here. Economics here, according to the Gupta and their successor. Their economics is the most important condition of the Gupta Empire. The period from the Sirika is the 4th century for the 8th century was a period of great agricultural expansion. The vast area of the land were brought the under cultivation and improvement were made in the settings of method of production to the attain of the higher years. One of the reason for it was the practice of the granting and the land of the Brahmans, and scholar is the officer in the different area. It's a help in the wearings of virgin land under to the plug. In the plugging, there is the spirit of their knowledge and regarding their use of iron plug and the shear, manure, irrigations, and the is a preservations of cattle. Wealth in the backward area also is a contribute to the ruler is a property, and it however to the brought no relief to the peasant and the who is a continue to the suffer remembrance tax or burden. There is the most important here this time of farmer there can to suffer a tremendous tax of burden. The Gupta and the post-Gupta is a period the witness as a competitive decline in the country as a trade and the commerce. Till AD of 550s, India is continued to have some trade with the Eastern, the Roman Empire, to which is exported a silk and the spicy. Around the 6th century, there is a Roman learn the art of the raiding silk bomb. A bomb there is the most important here. And this advice really is affected in the India as a foregone trade in the precarious or commodity, and the description on the northern western route by the Hussans was another factor for the decline. India tried to make up to the loss by carrying on the trade with the Southeast Asia countries, and but it did not be held to the revive. There is economical substance in their loss in the trade lessened and the inflow of the gold and silver into the country. It is confirmed by the journal scarcity of the gold coin after the Gupta. The Gupta did issue the large number of gold coins called the dinars. There is the most important. The large number of gold coin is a issue. There is called to the dinars. But we have noticed that the gold coin of each successive Gupta ruler after the Chandragupta II contain less of gold and more of alloys. There is the most important of the Chandragupta II, there contain less of gold and the more of alloys. After the Gupta is very few coins of king of different than centuries has been found. Thus is the absence of the conic as we as a presume that is a self-sufficient economical system with a limited trade and prevailed after the downfall of the Guptas. Literature. There is a most important literature here. They are part of the Gupta and there is a successor. There is a most important literature here. The Gupta period is considered as the golden age of the art and literature. There is a most important here. A whole body of the religious and scholar literature was completed in the period. The two is a great epics and Ramayana and Mahabharata were finally completed in the 4th century. There is a most important Ramayana and Mahabharata. There is finally complete on this era. The story of both the epic symbolize the victory of good over evil. That is the most important. And both Rama and Krishna is come to be considered as the incarnation of the Vishnu. That is also important. The Gupta period is a mark the beginning of the written of the literature is now as the Puran. There is the most important here Purans and this text is referred to the story about the Hindu gods and the mention the way to the place of their through the past and pilgrimage image and the major Puran written in the period are there a Vishnu Puran is a Maya Puran and the Matya Puran. There Matyas Puran is the most important here for the worship of the Shiva, Shiv Puran and the written the way to the various incarnations and the Vishnu are the is glorified in the Brahman Puran, Vaman Puran and the Narsimha Puran. There is a mean for the worship of common man and some Smritis are there are law books where also is a complied in the Gupta period and one of these is a Narada Samriti. Narada Samriti through there is a light on the general social and economical rule and the regulation of this period. The literature is a Gupta period was written in the Sanskriti language. There is a most important Sanskriti. The great of all the poet was Kalidas who lived in the court of Chandragupta II in the 50th century. There is a most important here and his the work are the very famous and has been to the translated in the many European languages. Some of the work that is the author as the Meghdootam, Avi Sakuntalam and the Raghava Meshwam and the Kumar Sambha and the Ritu Mahara. There is the most important here. The notable is a feature of the work is that is the character of the higher caste speak a Sanskriti will the those of lower caste and the women speak in the Prakritik. The other famous is the dramatics is the two have a flourish in the period are Sudraka at the right Vada, Mrik Chakratram and the Vishukadata who is the author Vada Mudraksha. There is the most important here. In the 17th century is the Bandhavate, their court poet of the Harsh. There is the most important. The 17th century is a Banbhatta is the court of poet of Harsh and you are the Harsh Charitra. The Parasik of the Potem, there is a Province written in there is another style in become a model for the later writer. The earlier history of the Harsha is constructed on the basis of text and another text written by him to the Kamdabari. The Kamdabari is the most important here Kadambari and the Harsh too is considered to be a literacy is a marches and he is said to has been authorized 3 play of Priyadarshanika, Nagananda and the Ratanvali. The Ratanvali is the most important here. In a South India is a period from to AD 550 to 750. The witness their growth of Bhakti literatures in a Tamil song where is composed by the Vishnua, Sant is a Alvar and the Seva is a Sant is a Nayanars in the palace of their respectives of gods. One of the most famous of the Alvar Sant where is a woman is called Andal. There is a Vaishnava is definitionally is a song where later is arranged in the text called to the Nayara Prabhandham and will there those of the Savitis and they are preserved in there is a text is known as the Devan Varma. This is Devan Varma is the most important here. The next is the most important topic here, art and architecture. There is the most important here. There is according to the Gupta and there is succession. The said India art is mainly inspired by the religions. As in the earlier time, Buddhists give a great impetus of the art of Gupta period also. A life size and the image of Buddha is made is a copper is the found from a Satlujan in a Bihar. Is a Satlang Ganj in a Bihar. There is the most important here, Satlujan Ganj. Here also you issue the Ashmedha types of coin is mentioned above. In the peninsular India is also worship of Vishnu and the Shiva was becoming a popular. The Pallavas is a ruler is a constructed is a stone temple in the seventh and the 8th centuries to be house of the image of these gods. The most famous are the seven rehearsed as the temples is made out of the solid piece of the stone constructed by the king is a Narsimha Varman and the Mahabalipuram. 65 kilometers for the Chennai, the Pallavas as a built many structural is a temple. One of the most important among them is the Kailash Nath temple is a constructed in a 18th century. There is the most important here. The Chalukyas of the Patapis as also is spread to the numerous temple at the Hilo Hall is a Badami and the Patakdakal. And the Patakdakal is has many as a 10 temple built in the 7th and the 8th century as a Birpukasa is a temple. There is a southern style of the architectures as come to now there is a Dravid. The next topic discussion here are religions. Religions is according to the Guptas and their successor. There is the most important here or religion. The Gupta ruler give a predominance of the Bhagavatisms and but they are tolerant to the other religions too. The Chinese pilgrims is a Farhan and the is a Haveshang is the most important here is a who is come to the India and doing to the religions of the Chandragupta too and the Harsha. And usually there is a clear give to the impressions that Buddhism was also flourish. The Harsha thought the Sivas in their real life is become a follower of Buddhism and great patrons of the religion. And he is convinced on the assembly of the Kannauj to the publicized to the Mahaisms and the Nalanda development as a great center of education from is a Mahayan. Buddhism during his time, students from outside the country also come to the study in the university. According to here, Havesang, there is a most important revenue of the 100 is a villages supported it. The Bhagavatism is centralized on the worship of the Vishnu and is the incarnations. It is a put emphasis on the bhakti, love to the devotions, and the ahimsa is a non-killing of animal. Ahimsa is the most important here. It is a no killing of animal rather than to the Vedic ritual and the sacrifice. The new religious was a quite liberal and the associated the lower classes in the fold. According to the Bhagavad Gita, the chief text of the Bhagavatisms and whenever there is the social Christ of Vishnu would be appear in the human from on the save the people. Thus the 10 incarnations of Vishnu were perceived is a Purans as were written to be popularized their victories of the each one of the incarnations. The idols of the god where is a household in the temple is constructed in the Gupta period. That is the most important here. In the South India from to the 7th century onward the Tamil is the sun is called Alavaras and the Nards. To popularize the concept of bhakti. There is the most important here Alayars and the Nards is published by the concept of bhakti. Alayars as a sant is popularized. There is a worship of the Vishnu and Nayar is a sant is a worship of the Shiva. That is the most important for the religion on the Gupta Empire time. We also notice the spread of the Tantrism in the India in the period. From the 5th century, the Brahmins had started to receive land is the tribals as area of the Nepal, Assam, Bengals, Orissa, Central India and Deccan. As the consequence, there is tribals is element come to the be assimilated in their Brahmicals of society. Their Brahmins is adopted their ritual as a god and goddesses. There is the most important here. It is the symbolization of the Brahmanicals of religion and travels of practice, which is resulting in their development of Tantrism. It is that it did not believe in any caste or gender bias and admitted to both women and Shudras in the ranks. It put the emphasis to the female as a source of power and energy. The Tantric is a concept affected to the Islam and the Vishnuism as well as the Buddhism and Jainism. It is resulting in the introduction of the worship of female deities in these religions. The next here is the science and technology. There is a most important here discussion here. The Guptas and their successor. There is a most important science and technology. On the idea of the progress of science and technology in the Gupta period can be had from the important text written on this subject during the period. The most is a notable among them as the astronomical as a text called is a Aryabhattam written by the Aryabhatta in the 5th century. Aryabhattams they written by the Aryabhat of the 5th century. Aryabhat was the astronomers and mathematicians, and he formed to first time suggest that the earth is a rotate on its axis and the revolves around to the sun and the causing tempests. There is the most important theory given here, and he was the first to invent the zero and the use of the decimal system. The another scholar is a Brahma Mihara. There is a most important here, Brahma Mihir. Brahma Mihir at the end of the 6th centuries was a great astronomer who has written to number of books on the astronomy, and his work of Panch Siddhant. Panch Siddhantaka is most important here and the deal with the 5 astronomical system. The Brahma Gupta, as well as known to this, the mathematician also live in the Gupta period. There is a most important here. Here the methodologies also show the technical advancement in the Gupta time. There is a browsing image of the Buddha produced on the considerable scale in the period are an example of the advanced technology. The 23 feet height iron pillar at the Merholi in the Delhi to be speak the volume of the iron technology and prevalent there is a Gupta period. Standing in the open, these pillars as not to be gathered rusted even after the 50th century. There is a most important here and the wonderful painting of the Ajanta is still intact of the indicate is at the other thing. The arts of the making color during this period there is a most important. The important is a Mehroli in the Delhi. There speak on all the history of pillar. There is a 50th century. There is a very long time. There is not crust and gathering here, and the 50th century after. There is a most important. Important also is Ajanta still the intact indicate beside other things art and making of color during this period.